If you guys want to go on a spooky maze, spooky scarecrow here, 84 degrees on Saturday. Could be a good day to go. Amazing weather if you get it. Okay, going into Sunday, 70 degrees, a little bit of a better day. Behind me here is Hurricane Beryl, and it is just continuing to barrel into the Caribbean right now. In the 70s and then dropping into the 60s by the time you're packing up with your candy and going home. A couple showers here and there are going to be popping up over much of the region here, and cloud cover everywhere in Georgia, unfortunately. So those humidity values will be decreasing going into Saturday and Sunday. Those heat indexes will not be triple digits like we've been seeing them 108 today. It's going to be dry as we go into tomorrow too, but towards the end of the day, we're going to be ramping up. We're going to be ramping up in temperature and humidity. We're going to be sizzling at 100 degrees tomorrow. The sun's trying to set, so those temperatures are going to be falling off a cliff going into the next hour or so. Going into your nationwide look though, the 90s, they're widespread. We have a heat dome all the way from Philadelphia down into Texas and New Mexico. 80 degrees by halftime. It's going to be a little toasty during the middle of the game. No, I agree with you, Malik. I did build a snowman on top of a random person's car with about an inch a couple of years ago, so it's definitely possible around here in Athens. You just have to be pretty creative with where you're going to be when you're trying to build that said snowman. That's going to be trying to ease up though as we go into your 4th of July night, and that is going to be making for a decent firework night. They're starting to ramp up here. This is tropical storm force wind gusts, and it's still not quite here yet, so they're going to be intensifying well into the night. We do have a heavy stretch of rainfall from LaGrange all the way down to Madison here. That's where some of the heaviest rainfall can be found, especially on Saturday evening. That's where some localized flash flooding could take place. 11 o'clock is about the sweet spot for when it's going to be making landfall onto the Big Bend of Florida here, just south of Tallahassee. And as we go into 12 to 1 a.m., it will be making its way across the Florida-Georgia line, bringing hurricane-force wind gusts. We're going to be colder than average here, and there's just a big bullseye right over the southeast. We have this jet stream that's really going to be stagnant over the next really 6 to 10 days here, going to be allowing for some colder air to really infiltrate into our region and allow for some of this moisture down here to be brought up as well. We're going to be having a colder and wetter next 6 to 10 days. By wintry precipitation, I mean sleet, freezing rain, and maybe just some really cold rain as well. That's not going to be any stuff that you want to get in and play in. Most of that snow will be coming before 12 o'clock, before lunch. These hurricanes do have a tendency to send some of this moisture and some of these clouds all the way up north, hundreds of miles ahead of it. So we're seeing this again, just like how we saw it with Helene. It's going to be feeling good outside during the day, not so much during night. 36 degrees, clear skies. There is a frost warning in effect for North Georgia, so if you have any dogs or any plants or anything outside, bring them on in for tonight. So most of those Halloween activities are going to be fading out before some of this rain starts making its way through, unless you're still trick-or-treating at 2:30 a.m. Catastrophic amounts of flooding associated with significant river flooding and landslides will be possible, especially up here in the mountains from the tri-state area up into the Blue Ridge Mountains in the Carolinas. You guys could be seeing some mudslides and landslides as well. The last 24 to 36 hours has been because of a predecessor rain event. This is not to do anything with the hurricane. It is getting some of that moisture from the hurricane, but it is something completely different. So what we've seen is not the hurricane. In fact, we will be seeing the hurricane tonight. If they linger around a little bit, it keeps all that radiation from really exiting, and it causes it to come back to the surface. And guess what? That heats us up just like a blanket, you would say. It is the only Category 4 storm to ever have been formed in the month of June. This is definitely an ominous start to this year's hurricane season.